Welcome back. I hope things are well. Xogue here, coming at you with episode 11 on the Beirut server. Now, as I mentioned in the last episode, the first order of business is to make this thing go away. Now, I got to do this quick because there's another large project I want to be sure I get to. So, let's see what we can do with this. That was easier than I thought it'd be. Now for this. And there you have it. Next up, the end. Now we are here to do what you might expect. We're going to make an Enderman farm. Now at one point in time, Enderman would chase the Endermites. And you could actually use that to lure them into a trap and kill them that way. But instead of doing that, since that doesn't work anymore, that was removed, we have to go back to the older style, the Ender style thing. So, the basic idea on how you start this is you find the furthest block out in the direction you want to build. Right there in this case. And you see what number it is. It says 102, but it's actually 103 because the end block is this one over there. I went over there and got the coordinates. So since it's 103, you want to go more than 128 blocks out, away from the main island. The reason for that is that way any mobs that may or may not spawn on this island, they'll instantly despawn. So basically, there will be no Enderman on this island. So every Enderman that will spawn will go inside the trap. Now what I usually do is I go, I don't know, just a few more, 135 or so, and then I go down all the way, as far down as you're allowed to build in the end, which is 0. So once you get to the point where you're ready to start building it, you can build it a lot higher, and it makes it more efficient. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to continue this all the way out. I'm going to build myself a little platform. I'm going to get it all the way down to the bottom of where you can build. That way we have a decent little base to start from. And we have stairs and a very, very long path that, as you can see, is quite a distance from the main island. So this will do nicely. If we watch the coordinates, you'll see that the Y coordinate goes all the way down to 1 as soon as we get to the bottom of the stairs. And 1. So then I went out another 32, and the reason for that, well, actually it's more than 32. I went out more than 32. The reason for that is because that way it's a lot easier to secure this bottom platform here from the teleport distance that Enderman can teleport. So if every block within a 32 block radius from the Enderman is non-spawnable, I guess, they can't teleport to it either. In other words, we're going to make this entire platform all the way back to 32 blocks, 2.5 blocks high. Therefore, they can't teleport to it. And even though we're hitting them, they're not going to try to teleport and get to us. So that's the basic idea. Now, the next thing to do is I'm going to go ahead and build out a platform, a decent sized platform. That way I have some walk around space. I can set up some stuff, do some things, prepare, and just another note, I died. Cyclops, he was having a little trouble with withers. We don't ever need to do withers again unless it is a very, very well protected environment and we have a lot of potions or something. Because we tried to just run in there half cocked and it didn't work at all. So there's still a couple withers roaming around. That, and also when I was coming down, and I don't know if you know, but the way to do that, when you need to build under something, in this case, you put a water source block on the side of a block, and as it goes down, you can swim up and down, kind of like my water vaders or whatever you want to call them that I have in my base. So the water will go all the way down, and you can just kind of swim in it, swim underneath the blocks and place them straight down, get to this level, and then manually build your stairs back up. So I'm going to go ahead and build that platform, set some things up, make this a lot more safe since it's only one wide. It's kind of creeping me out a little bit. You know, I would say, oh my god, I'm so high up, but you really don't know because it's the void. It's nothingness. It's not even space, it's just nothing. But yeah, that nothingness killed me once already. And I lost a bunch of blocks, some other things, and I have no idea about it. I don't know. Another side note, this helmet, the Iron Horse armor, the TNT, and probably these two, I don't remember having those. They were on the ground in the nether on my way here, so anybody on the server that would like to claim them, Unbreaking 3, Respiration 3, let me know. I'm just going to hang on to them until then. Nobody says anything, I guess I'll be hanging on to them. So for now, let me get this platform built. So I did some more work other than just the platform. Reason for that is because it was a lot of tedious things. I had to work out some design stuff. And so I just kind of kept going until a point where I wanted to explain everything to you. It's also easier to explain if it's already built out a little bit. So, now this is actually, again, more than 32 blocks, but just to be safe. There's torches on top. I have the water on top of the whole thing because then Enderman won't teleport on top of it. You could also half slab or something like that, but I believe they can teleport onto half slabs. So I figured I'd just go with water and just play it more than safe. So this is the room. Over in this corner, we're going to have some chests. And I guess that's just going to be storage for ender pearls as they come in. We can, you know, this is going to be doubled up at some point. But then we can store the ender pearls. Eventually, I'm foreseeing somebody, if not me, somebody else will create a transport system and send them all back to spawn. Which is kind of the standard thing at this point in time. So then the chest can be torn down and something else can be put there. And then over here is where the crafting table will be. I also imagine this hallway will be extended. There are some other kind of rooms or something for each of the books and stuff, or maybe a room per person, or I don't know exactly how that's going to work. But for now, this is just this part, so at least it can become functional. These are just my temporary things. And another feature I've added into this, something I saw in the past, I kind of liked it. I like the ability to just have an auto kill. So this can become, you know, an AFK farm if you want it to be, where you just kind of sit down here and you just let ender pearls collect. And you flip the switch. Apparently that's not working. Did I not hook that back up? I guess I probably didn't. Or water got to it probably. So I didn't foresee that. Anyway, once I get that settled, it will retract all of this soul sand here and basically make it so the Endermen fall one extra block, therefore dying on impact, and then all of the ender pearls can just kind of be auto collected. So all you really need to do is you can just kind of sit here and wait for however much time you want to wait. And that way you can get a decent stash of ender pearls for you and the rest of your server members. Water. Now these are the rings. As you see, they kind of go all the way up. There's no redstone, there's no mechanics, there's no nothing here. And the reason for that is because as mobs fall, they can still move, much like we can. And they can also be pushed by the other Endermen that might be falling at the same time. So these rings are 2.5 blocks space. And what that does is basically it means no Enderman can get in between them. That's just the maximum distance you can put them apart. You can move them close together if you have a design in mind, something along those lines. It's not a huge deal, as long as they are no more than 2.5 spaced. And that just keeps them in the line as they fall. And that's another reason I just kind of built it out. It's a lot easier to see that from, you know, after it's built. And a big ladder climb. And this part right here, this is going to reset their fall distance. Anytime any mob, including yourselves, hits vines, it acts like you're trying to climb them for that split second, which means you're not falling anymore, therefore resetting your fall distance. The buttons prevent them from growing further. Now, the Endermen are going to fall onto these from multitudes of distances. That's what allows you to have several platforms and still have them be at a half heart once they hit the ground. This distance right here is that the distance they have to fall in order to get to a half heart, which is 45 blocks. They fall 45 blocks and then they're at half heart. This is because they have twice as much health as we do. We have 10 hearts, they have 20. And every mob in the game suffers the same amount of fall damage, which is every block after the third gives you half a heart of damage. And then there's some other kind of mechanic in there, probably because, yeah, well, 45 blocks. That's the basic idea. Next up, I'm going to stash my inventory with things that I need to build the first level. I'm going to show you the levels that I build. It's the same general concept. You have piston pushers and tripwire, stuff like that. But I organize it differently. So I'm going to show you that level, or that thing, and I will be back in just a second. And here we are, up top, ready to start the building stuff. So the basic idea about Enderman farms is that as soon as they spawn on your platforms, you need them to be pushed off. And the most common way to do that is through pistons, with pistons, because water hurts them and it's unpredictable, and it's just easiest way to do it is with pistons. Now, unfortunately, that means it is quite a bit more resource intensive than our other farms. And there's not really a whole lot you can do about that. But in this, my version of the piston pusher thing, it's like I said, it's very, very similar to the other ones that already exist. So I take no claim. I'm not saying it's special or better or anything along those lines. It's basically the same idea. But this one, it accommodates a new feature or bug or whatever about pistons. Because now, regular pistons, they don't push as well as pistons with blocks on them. And it's kind of problematic, because if you try to push a mob with a regular piston, more often than not they will glitch inside of the piston head when it's extended. I can't speak. So the way to circumvent that is, instead of just having the piston head push it, you need to have a block push it. You need to have a block on the piston push the mob. And that fixes that issue, but it makes it so you are required to have sticky pistons. Now, normally that would be okay. You have slime farms and things, but in this case, it's actually, well, it's horrible, because in this version, make sure I didn't miss one. I did miss one. There we go. In this snapshot, slimes aren't spawning correctly. So our slime ball, I don't know, storage is empty. Nobody on the server really has a whole lot of it, so we can't do too many levels of this. So we're gonna have to deal with only a couple levels of, Enderman spawning pads until until we can either fix the slime spawning or just, I guess, accumulate what we can from other methods, because they do spawn sometimes in swamps. You can see them. It just takes, I don't know, it's a lot less frequent than it should be. So the basic idea here is that we're going to have, let's put the other things on this other side here. So that's the level for that. Yeah. Okay, so the basic idea is that we're going to have these here. And now obviously you're going to have string connecting these, and then you have the, ooh, I thought I ran out of wood for a second. And then you're going to have these guys here. And what we're going to do, actually, you know what? There you go, messing some things up. This needs to be backed up one so that they can actually trigger. Woohoo! There we go, almost falling. At least it would have been in the water. Hopefully I can get this one too. Alright, let's try this again. Here, here, then like that. And then it goes, actually not here either. I'm not remembering my own design apparently. I'll get it eventually, don't worry. It'll work. Okay. So as soon as I get this done, the string is the last thing I'm going to put in there, just so I don't start triggering this trap and I don't knock myself off the edge. I kind of figure that's probably the smartest way to go. And you also need to be backed up one. Just like that. Okay, so the idea is that when mobs spawn, they can spawn anywhere here. And when they do, they're going to trigger these tripwires, which will send the redstone signal across here. And since the path, I made it 15 wide, so the only thing that really needs to happen is a repeater going into the side of the block like you just saw, so that it goes the entire length. Therefore extending all of these, pushing them off into the edge. Or into the hole in the middle or whatever. So I need to do this on both sides. Let's see if I can do it properly this time. Not sure if I'm going to have enough. See, if I fall on this side, then I don't get to survive. I'll just die, fall into the void, and I'll lose everything. So that would be really, really bad. So this is the basic idea. It's very simple. It's not hard, and as far as the actual mechanics go, it's not resource intensive. So it's I don't know, I like this a little more. Now there is another version, it uses a little more repeaters, but you know, and it also, there's another version that also includes a lot more tripwires and each piston being triggered individually. The reason I'm not worried about doing that and just having one tripwire triggering all of the pistons is because Endermen are spawned in batches. So they're all going to spawn at one time. And you're not going to have instant spawn before a piston can extend and then retract. So basically, you're going to have 3 or 4 spawning here at the same exact time. And therefore, you don't need to trigger them individually. Once they all spawn, they all get pushed off. And then it retracts quick enough to allow another spawn if it needs to. Even if it does want to go back to back, you're not really going to lose anything. That, and obviously it takes quite a bit less iron, which is another thing that people seem to not have on the server. So it just kind of works that way. Another thing is I'm using wood for this entire construction. Now the reason for that is because I cleared out a whole bunch of trees out of my area. So I have a lot of it on hand. The other benefit is that if I accidentally place something, I don't have to carry a pickaxe. Granted, I do, but I don't have to. I can break it by hand, not waste any tool durability or anything, and I can just kind of break it as I need it. It just kind of works out that way. So I've gotten that. I need to put this here. And then redstone all the way across. And after I put on the tripwires and the string, that's the basic idea of this. There really isn't a whole lot else to it. So tripwire hooks here and here. Both sides are identical. And that's about it. I mean, that's complete. You need 4 tripwire hooks, some redstone, which you can get pretty easily, 2 repeaters, which really isn't hard to get. The most resource intensive part of this is all the sticky pistons with the slime balls. So, and that's going to be required anyway for pretty much any design, which is why I like this one, because it's comparatively very not nearly as resource intensive. So yeah, this is pretty much the level. The next one, the big idea is just to make it so there's at least 3 blocks between here and the next platform, which is actually going to be, this would be 2, so right there. So that would be the level for the next spawning platform. In which case we do, you know, the same kind of a thing here. Block on top, and then that on top of that block is where these sticky pistons are. So I only have enough for 1 more layer. And in my testing world, that actually, it's not going to be the best XP farm just yet. But it will give us some ender pearls. We will be able to get them pretty easily. And with that switch I showed you below, we'll be able to just sit there and get ender pearls if we need to. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to finish this up. I'm going to hook up that switch at the bottom, make sure it works. And as soon as I have it working completely, at least to a level I'm okay with, I will show you what I've got, and I'll show you it in progress, just so you can see the kind of spawn rates you get with 2 spawn pads. Because in theory, you see the level here is, we're at 53, and we can go all the way up to 128. You can even go higher than that, but I believe higher than that, it will start to check the rest of them, and it's actually better just to keep it under 128. But that's something I got to research. I'll verify that, but yeah, we can have quite a few more spawn pads. So eventually this will be really awesome. So hang tight. I'll show you what I got when I'm done with something. And there we are. You see them all there now. They are surviving the fall. And there's a couple more. 1-hit kills. You see I'm holding chicken in my hand. So things are working as expected. I already have a little over 2 stacks on me that I just pulled out of the chest, plus 6. So it is working quite well for that. Let's see if we can catch the auto kill AFK version. As you see, I hooked it back up. Obviously I need to move my chest and stuff out of the way. And there you go. Instant death. So the perfect height, everything is working as expected. And now we just have to wait for more stickies, and you'll probably just start to see this thing work better and better as time progresses. So yeah, project somewhat done. I decided to add a few things before I actually finished the episode, so I figured I'd toss them right at the end. It's undergone some changes. As you see, first thing, we have a beacon. No more food requirements. I was really hoping for that too. Now, the next thing is just a few notes about, well, first let's look at the design here. As you see, we have the water along the sides. And that's just because there was so much brown. Brown was probably a bad color for this, but I'm not going to go about changing the color. It's already dark. The end is dark. I should have thought of that ahead of time. But I think the water kind of helps quite a bit. Helps brighten it up some, so that's good to go. These chests, they may or may not stay here. I'm not sure yet. Eventually, they will probably be gone just because they're used for ender pearl storage at the moment. Done quite a bit of enchanting. And, you know, eventually we're going to have the thing that goes all the way back and puts them into the spawn, as long as it still works. And, yeah, so these chests won't even need to be here, so they'll probably be removed at some point. We have the enchanting station. I think the crafting table is going to be moved there. The anvil is going to be here because you don't need that many bookshelves. And, yeah. And over around this corner here, these are chests for everybody on the server currently. You store whatever the heck you want. They're your chests, so do what you do. And here we just have an extra set for the next member that joins. And if any more join, when any more join, we'll have to expand it, but that can be done later as well. Now, there are a few notes about the build I did want to point out. First thing is that if you notice the area that they fall into, the vine area, it's only one wide. And that's, you see some with 2 wide, and what the 2 wide does is it prevents them from getting stuffed up in the vine area so that they don't just kind of stick there and stay there for a while. But in reality, it's more than 32 blocks away. They will eventually despawn, and it's not that big of a deal. And the mechanics to make that work, I didn't really want to put that much work into just that. But it can be done with 2 wide. There are designs out there. Look them up. This is, as you see, it still works with 1 wide. The next thing is there are only 2 sets of vines. A lot of other designs use 3 sets, and that is just to prevent the occasional death. The two high vines, it doesn't completely protect against the fall damage. Sometimes it doesn't completely get reset by 2 sets of vines, and these guys can just they drop and they die. Now, when I build it higher, if it starts to become a bigger issue, then I will go up there and I will fix it. But for now, it works fine. The other thing is, you notice the tripwires. You could theoretically double the length of this and make it really anywhere up to 30 blocks wide. And that gives you more spawning spaces and theoretically will increase the rates at which they fall. But you see right here, I mean, even we only have, I did add a few more up there. So we have, I believe it's like 6 or 7 layers now. And we're getting a decent amount of rates now. So it should be pretty good. So I'm not too worried about that. But if you really want to make it wider, you can. It is entirely possible. You just need to put the repeaters for the tripwires. You need to do that little redstone that I was showing a little earlier in the video on both sides, and then you have one stretching across from this direction going 15 blocks and the other one stretching the other 15, therefore reaching the entire 30. Other than that, I did want to show you these signs. These are everything that was donated. And now the Endermen are getting in my way. See over here, EWO, 28 gold blocks. A lot of these are for the beacon because a lot of us have a lot of gold from my slaughterhouse that I put together pretty early in the series. And so a lot of people had gold, but we needed to pull all of our resources in order to get that working. Most of the other resources we had outside the sticky pistons. Or I had outside the sticky pistons. So you got EWO with 28 gold blocks, Sarge 12 gold blocks, Waffling Brit 24 hoppers and 19 gold blocks created by me. Fleeks donated a lot of stuff. He's got 11 hoppers, 48 sticky. A lot of this clay that I used here is his. And Noms, that's Anomaly, the server admin, I guess, the creator of our server. He put up 34 gold blocks, and he went and crafted the beacon. He farmed the skulls, he put the wither together. I believe he had someone's help to beat the wither. Feel free to correct me in the comments, Anomaly, if you did do it by yourself, but I believe he had some help. But he did go and get all the skulls, he put it together, gave the beacon, so that's very awesome of him. So I figured I wanted to point those out. These guys will be in the description of this video. They'll be up higher, so they're a lot easier to see. Thanks guys for donating. Definitely appreciate the regeneration, because my food storage is dwindling outside this. I had to go manually breed and kill my cows. But yeah, that's about it. This is also going to be moved at some point. But yeah, that's about all I got going on right now. Let's see. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, click that like button. You want to see more, subscribe. You can also favorite, comment, share. Do what you do. See you in the next video.